Ben Jr. Boriss, I'm 16 years old and here I am in this cold hospital room, trying to walk the fine line between reality and fantasy. I have schizophrenia. Sometimes I can't tell what's real and what's a dream. This story is a slice of the days I spent here. The first day I entered the hospital, the silence of the corridors frightened me. Silent screams echoed in all the rooms. Nurses were walking around with mask-like expressions on their faces. The emptiness in his eyes made me feel like something was lost inside me. That day, for the first time, I felt like I wasn't alone here. Everyone had darkness inside, but my darkness was deeper. I was taking my medications at the same time every day. Sometimes the drugs calmed me down, sometimes they made me go crazy. When I was alone in my room, I started hearing whispering voices coming through the walls. Sometimes it sounded like my mother's voice, sometimes it's someone I don't know. A voice saying, "Don't forget me," kept going around in my head. One day, a nurse came to my room and asked me to play a game. "Close your eyes and start counting," he said. I closed my eyes and started counting. As I said, 1, 2, 3, I felt something moving in the room. When I opened my eyes, a shadow appeared in the corner of the room. Shadow was a boy the same age as me. His eyes were watching me. "I know who you are," I said. "You're here too, like me." But he just smiled and didn't speak at all. From then on, he came to my room every night. Talking to the shadow relieved my loneliness a little. But in the mornings, when the nurses didn't see him, fear was growing inside me. Real or dream? Is the shadow good or bad for me? I'll never know. One night, while Shadow was sitting next to me, I started hearing strange noises in the hospital corridors. "Don't forget us," whispering voices say. At that moment, I realized the dark secrets of the hospital. Here, there were not only patients like me, there were other beings too. Was the shadow my protector or was it pulling me into deeper darkness? The next morning, when the nurses asked about the shadow, I said, "It's not there." But something inside me was breaking. From that day on, the shadow became even more distinct. His eyes were shining more and more every day. The hospital room felt like a prison now. The shadow seemed to be calling me. He stood by me more and more every night. As the days passed, I lost track of time. The hospital room had become a place cut off from the outside world. When the nurses checked me, they noticed the emptiness in my eyes, but they didn't say anything. One day, a new patient was brought to my room. Her name was Leela. His eyes reminded me of my shadow. When Leela started talking to me, a feeling of hope appeared inside me. Maybe I wasn't alone. Maybe I could find a friend in this dark world. But Leela knew the secrets in the hospital. "Everyone gets lost here," he said. "Do you know your shadow?" He was lost in the same darkness as me. We were making plans to meet our shadow every night. But every morning, Leela's eyes became more lost. One day, when I went to her room, there was only one empty bed in Leela's room. His disappearance made the darkness inside me even greater. As time went by, the hospital became a labyrinth for me. The shadow sometimes seemed like a friend, sometimes like an enemy. Walking that fine line between reality and dream was slowly consuming me. Every night, I started to go deeper with the shadow. The darkness had intoxicated me. One night, my shadow said to me, "You can't stay here anymore. Follow me." At that moment, I had to face the fears inside me. Escaping from the hospital might have been my salvation. But while I was running away, I was dragged into the depths of darkness with my shadow. Now, here in this hospital room, I don't know what's real. But one thing is certain, my fears will never leave me alone. The shadow is with me now. I expect to disappear into the depths of darkness with